All right, everyone, welcome to another edition of the Growth Network podcast Office Hours. We do these on Wednesdays to talk about podcasting and content creation and how to use all of these fancy and exciting new tech tools that are out there on the market. And so today we're talking about how to make the best of Descript. And specifically, we're going to be sort of thinking from the perspective of nonprofits and smaller organizations that have to make content on their own. Kind of showing how easily we can take an old event recording and turn it into a ton of clips for social media. So my guest today is Jeannie McIntyre. Welcome.
Hello.
And Jeannie works with us here at GNP, but she also works with some nonprofits. And tell us a little bit about what you do with nonprofits, and then who the clip is from, who we're working with here today.
Hey, Linz. It's great to be here. I'm super excited about this. So, I work with a variety of small businesses and nonprofits. And in smaller organizations, you kind of get to be a Jill of all trades. So, do some marketing, some social media, some, public relations, help plan some events, maybe some fundraising. It just never ends on what you're expected to do. And the social media aspect of it, we have these wonderful events and we record them, but not we don't have a big team, so there's not a lot of skill sets to know how to use just the nuggets from the events that we could share then on different social media platforms. So I'm super excited to learn about this today with you.
Cool. I am going to present and share my screen here. We're going to do boom, boom.
What did you pick? I think I sent you two.
Yeah, I picked 8 coats, 7 shirts, 15 wampum, early colonial settlement, and the first deeds.
Yeah, it that he has crazy interesting things going on in there, but it's a lengthy video, but the snippets I think would be gold.
Yeah, it's about an hour, it seems like. So I'm going
Mhm.
to scoot back here. And this project is called um, Office Hours Demo 517. Okay. What I'm going to do is just take a step back here and go to projects. So for anyone who is new to Descript, it is a program that allows you to edit your video and audio files through text. So if you can use Google Docs, you can use Descript. And so since I wanted to show Jeannie how all this works anyway, it's perfect to invite her to the office hours to kind of show the basics. So the screen I have here, and I have it in dark mode because it's blinding when everything is white. Um, but what you have is sort of this place along the left here for your the various the sort of menu, and we go. My Drive workspace has a lot of folders for all the different projects we do, um, but I know that this is in webinars, and so what I have is a series of I can have several different files for this folder, and within this file I can create a bunch of different deliverables. So each one can each composition can have sort of sub compositions that are different deliverables. Maybe there are different video sizes or different sections of things that are cut out. So I'm going to go into the office hours demo here, and just to sort of give a quick orientation of the screen here, what we have are scenes are going to be laid out down here on the left. Eventually, there will be more than just one. The text box here is where much of the work is done, and you can switch modes in terms of how you use this text area. I'll get into more of that later. These are sort of the various ways to add things like text captions or adding in other files and things. Our video is over here. It was black for a second, but you see, and depending on what you're doing, you can do this to kind of give yourself more or less text or more or less video. And then at the bottom is, nope, that's not what I meant to do. At the bottom here is the timeline. And the timeline is sort of what traditional video and audio editors have used to
Mm-hmm.
edit things. And it's where you can go to make sort of precision improvements, because you can do most of your work up here with the text, but it is sometimes nice to pull this up and see, what the audio thing looks like, so that you can lay things together if you have sound effects or if you're trying to add music and stuff. So the space here is modular, and you can kind of move it up and down. And there's sort of some basic things to get started. When you import a new video and get it transcribed, it'll have you, it doesn't know who everyone is, but it's going to identify some speakers for us. All right. We have a dog companion on this broadcast here today. So I'm going to identify speakers, and what this does is it'll play me a section of it, and I can put a name in there for whoever is speaking. Is it the same person speaking the whole time, or do they switch between?
So this is the woman who introduced it, but Drew Shuptar is the primary speaker throughout the whole show. So Drew would be the one we want to capture.
So there'll probably likely be, when it grabs the whole thing, it'll probably notice two, and it'll notice the intro speaker in this. And so intro. So, oh,
I can tell you on face value, this is a very cool app, program, however you want to, tool. It's a very cool tool. I mean, seems very straightforward. It doesn't seem overwhelming, and yet it seems like it does some pretty high tech movie studio, radio studio kind of editing. That's impressive on first glance.
yeah, it's pretty cool. So I'm going to do. What's the speaker's name?
This is Charlotte and Drew. Drew.
So I'm going to put Drew in here.
Mm-hmm.
And so let's see. I clicked the wrong thing earlier. Anyway, so right now it did not. We just have one speaker listed, but so a good, the first listen through. Yeah, you can see. So as I scroll down, you see in the middle of the area, it sort of has a time. It says like 2 minutes, 22 minutes. So that is a way to sort of tell how far along you are in the script. And I like to do just a quick glance down to see how long we're working with. It's a 57 minutes. All right. So I scroll back up here, and let's say we want to make a clip of just the intro person, just Charlotte, right? Just so that her intro piece, maybe she wants to see it. Maybe it just goes up on YouTube. Let's see, how long is hers? So as I click down, I can kind of see the image. All right. Okay, so what I'm going to do is make this thing over here. There's a dash, and it makes a new scene, and you'll see a second scene pop up down here. So what we have is scene 1, and we know that's Charlotte's intro, and then scene 2 pops up down here. So any change I make within scene 1, if I add a text overlay, well, this would be, All right, I'm actually going to make the first scene because there's text on it. I'm not going to add the overlay, so I have to actually make this a new scene here, and I'm going to put text.
Nice.
All right, and so I do know I can take this. And we're going to make that text a little bit smaller. Put here, and so that'll be there for the whole scene. So when we start again,
That is the longest title we've ever had
it's a
for an
pretty long
event.
title.
It's crazy. Nice. It's like magic.
Yep, and it's so magic. I need to add her hyphenated name because she's. And again, you can just do that. Now let's
So
say
cool.
it's like not standing out right, and so we want to add a border. Let's see, a background. And we can change the color of that background. Oh, we wouldn't want it white because the text is white. We could make it gray or red,
Very cool.
right? And so that's just sort of one way to quickly add. And let's say I want to take this whole section that she's in. I'm going to take this whole scene and I'm going to copy it. I'm going to select it like I would a text document. I just held the shift button. And I'm going to do Command C for copy. And then I'm going to go up to here and I'm going to have it make a new composition. And this is going to be called Clip 1. And I'm just going to hit paste. And now that whole bit that I just copied is now in Clip 1 by itself. Right?
That is.
Magic.
It is.
Magic.
It is pretty impressive. I love it.
Right? Now let's say I want to make another one and I just want to duplicate Clip 1 and it's going to be called a copy of Clip 1. I'm going to change it to rename to Clip 1. Ugh, I am going to rename copy of Clip 1. We're actually going to just call it Clip 1B vertical. And so what I can do here is now make the video a portrait, like we're going to Reels or TikTok.
Oh, wow.
And I go portrait, and now it's here. Her text of her name is below right here, and it's just a vertical video with black and white at the top. Well, let's say I want to do something a little wild. This is sort of a quick and dirty version of how you can just make things really engaging by zooming in different sections.
Yeah.
And so what I'm going to do is start here. Oh, first of all, I'm going to get rid of that Boom. Gone.
Nice.
Get rid of that Who needs it? Boom.
Amazing.
Yeah. Now, since I've made those cuts, they show up. There's like a little gray line right here that shows a cut, like it's really faded, and you can also kind of see it down here. And so if I select the first section, but it goes basically down here, I'm selecting up to the cut because basically it's like one long file that I've now started. When I remove an I split those files.
Slice it. Yeah.
Yeah, and so once I have these different cuts, I can zoom them in at different rates, and it looks like there's different. It gives the
Angles, perspectives.
Yeah. So I'm actually going to take this one, and I'm going to zoom. get rid of that for this. Okay. Um, nope. Okay, I actually have to do a different thing. Okay, so I actually have to go boom and make it a new scene. And I'm just going to scenify this a little bit so that I can sort of show my work here.
It's pretty like versatile and forgiving, it seems, and flexible in a lot of different ways.
Yeah, I think when you first start, you have to be willing to make some mistakes and get lost down some rabbit
Hmm.
holes. But then once you've got that stuff, it gets pretty easy. And so, boom. And so I'm just going to do these. All right. And so just to get a sense of how this would work is I would leave the first one. And then the second one, I would go, you know what? I'm going to zoom like this. And then the third one, I'm going to zoom a lot. Delete that. Fourth one goes back to here. All right, so we'll just watch this real quick and see how it looks. And then I would probably do this. Again, this is sort of making the most. Nope.
I almost never see an attractive freeze frame.
Yeah. Oh, yeah. And she's like, she just did. Okay, we're going to delete those because she just like hems and haws for a second. And so,
Hmm. I mean, this is a way to take something that is kind of off the cuff and genuine and authentic, but clean it up so it looks much more polished.
yeah. And I would say, like, look, this one has this border around it, kind of like the way we have a border around us right now. And that
Sure.
that does limit some things because it doesn't it's you have to use the zoomed in border too. You don't get to kind of keep it
Mm.
separate. And so sometimes when you have a tool that can save the individual videos without all those overlays, it's easier to make better content later, but also like no one's going to care that there's uh, a thing
And
around
I
this
and I
logo.
think we have a raw cut of this too, but that was a already. I mean, and of course we paid someone to edit this and put the border and do the things. And now we have the ability to maybe do some of that ourselves.
Yeah. So we go
Cost
here.
savings is a big deal for nonprofits.
Mm-hmm. And so you can kind of see this one's, you could do this across this whole thing and it would maybe take another 10 minutes, quite frankly. It wouldn't take a whole lot longer to kind of get something. I'm going to move on
Well,
just so
you're a
that
pro.
yeah,
Easy for you to say.
I'm a little obsessed. But it's also like if you get into a rhythm, it's a bunch of repeatable stuff. It's not like
Hmm.
rocket science. It's just make a scene, change the sizing just a little bit because the eye needs that much variation these days. So, but
It holds attention way
yeah,
better than just a static image
mm-hmm.
talking.
So I'm going to go back to our clip one here, and this was with this right here, and then um, I'm going to duplicate it again, and I'm going to call this one clip one C square. So what I'm going to do is again we're going to change this here. We're going to make this a square. I'm going to put her at the top. And then what we're going to do here is we're going to add captions below. All right, so captions. I kind of want to extend this out. And so there's controls every time you're touching, you have something selected, the controls for it appear over here. And so I can add a background. So let's say we want these to be, oh, let's say maybe the grayed out version of that. Nope. Too much. Too much. Let's go back to this one. Just kind of dial it back a little bit. And then the captions themselves, you can kind of change the color. Um, you can have future words, gray. And it's kind of too big, right? It's like that. We want a little
Mm-hmm.
smaller so we can see more of it at a time. And I'm going to actually get rid of that future word business.
There's that and ah.
Mm-hmm. Right. And so again, in terms of workflow, it's like you almost, and I'm not doing that this time because it's the longest part of the process. You almost want to go through the original transcript and take out all the fluff, those like
Yeah.
the ums and
Edited
ahs,
right out of the gate, the
right out of the
original
gate.
piece.
And there is a way. There's this thing called remove filler words,
Ooh.
and it'll pop up all the filler words that it thinks are coming, and you can either apply them all, which sometimes they get wrong because someone might say amazing and they'd be like a's are, and so it might, and so
Yeah.
you can't assume everyone is right, but also they're mostly right.
Yeah.
um,
You can glance through and
and
make
so
a
for the sake of this clip, again, this isn't going to the Library of Congress, and if we make a
nope.
mistake we can always go back to it. We're going to apply them all. Boom, they're all gone. you
That's
know
fantastic.
Yeah. And also, I can't live with that thing still being in there. Okay, great.
You're hired. That's great that you can be as detailed or as high level as you want to be about it.
mm-hmm. Yeah, and then let's say, um, all right, I'm going to do this. I think I can do this real quick. Um, let's say we want to go to Canva and put, please, come on. I don't need all this from you, Canva. We're going to create a design. We're just going to create an Instagram square, and it's going to be, um,
It's funny when you were working on it, I thought it has the user friendliness of a Canva versus an Adobe kind of product where Adobe can intimidate a lot of people and the controls are you have to know. If you don't know, you're kind of out of luck. Whereas Canva's more friendly and user friendly and forgiving. And so this seems to be as well.
it is. They've really, worked out a lot of the kinks, and they're working with a lot of people who are not editors, right? These are people who have
Hmm.
figured out how to make content from this, and I've always felt gatekept, some gatekeeping from the fact
Sure.
that like Adobe is a really hard to learn software.
Hmm.
I'm a smart guy, and it flusters me, and I hate it. So,
I spent a
um,
lot of time and energy learning it, and it's not intuitive. It's just it takes some work, and this seems much more
and in this
intuitive.
day and age, with this much, we're all experienced now with Google Docs and sharing docs and all these things. It's like using that vernacular instead of the old way is just so incredible. So what I'm going to quickly do, I'm going to show the process of uploading. I'm going to add a new file. I basically created that Canva, just a square, and it's called, I gave it the clever name Untitled Design 8. Um,
Fabulous.
yeah, and so what I'm going to do is add a new layer. And so right now it's in front of everything, and so I need to send it to the back. But what that allows me to do is to have a color here. So I can take, boom, and then this, it can be like that. This, right? And so it's framed a little bit.
Mm-hmm.
And then so you could bring in raw video yourself and put that frame in that is there. You
Sure.
can do that yourself now,
That's
right?
amazing.
So we're creating a sort of a second frame around your frame. Obviously, the background on the thing needs to change now that there's black, but I don't know if that's the color. We could find something.
You could apply your brand colors like you.
Yep, you can put the hex color in right here. You can
Mm-hmm.
paste them right in. Um, you can. There's not a ton of fonts, but there you can add fonts from outside. But I could change this to Josephine regular if I wanted to.
So you could upload your brand fonts.
Upload your brand fonts. Now let's say you not only want to give this. Let's say we're done with this, right? Um, okay, I can't just like because I'm actually going to export this and you're actually going to be able to use it if you want. I cannot live with not putting her name back on this. Charlotte Buchanan Gale and um, oh, okay. Sometimes just selecting things is hard, but you figure out how to do it. You can. All right, so let's say I'm going to export this, right? And let's say I want to not only export her this clip, but I also want to put the text from her transcript into some document or maybe send it to her and say, "Oh, here's the transcription from your thing. You can write a blog about it." Or because now this text can be used to create other content as well. And
Very
so
cool.
when I go to publish up here, I can export the video that we just made. This would be this clip that's highlighted in front of us, and it's fast, you know. Um, so that's working in the background. That'll export pretty fast. Now, let's say I also want transcript. I can get it in Word doc, I can get it in plain text or HTML even. You
That's
can
pretty terrific.
if you put markers in there, such as like chapter headings or section changes, those you would include those. If you did want, you can strike out text, which means it won't get played in the video, but it still shows in the transcript in gray and it's struck out. And so you can either keep that into the transcript or leave it out.
Hmm.
And you can leave the speaker labels so that it knows it goes from person to person throughout the script. Um, you can include time codes. I mean, the sort of level of detail you can create for this is pretty
Right. Like when
high.
you say, "Oh, watch the video from minute 4:55."
Mm-hmm.
Check out 4:55 for the money shot on the
Mm-hmm.
on this video.
Yeah, exactly. Let's say even you want to upload the main video and get your own transcript. You mark that up and then give that to an editor who then takes the ball and continues from there.
Hmm.
Right. And so there's a way to kind of just stay involved, but without having to, spend other people's time and money doing things. Um, and when you can get your own stuff, now obviously outsourcing is helpful too, but when the budget's not there, and it takes more
Sure.
time to collaborate sometimes. So it takes more time to share the file. They now have to download them and upload them, but if it's all just right in front of you and you could knock it out in an hour on your own, as
Hmm.
opposed to
Or if
spending.
you have an immediate need or a planned campaign and you just need to go in and pull out a few key nuggets for a board presentation or a
Mm-hmm.
big, fundraising initiative or something like that.
Yeah. So then when I transcript, I export it right here. I'm gonna do the smart thing and write transcript because it doesn't put that into the title unless you do it. And there we go. So the video exported, the text exported, and there we are. Um, any other, let's see, types of things? What's another kind of use case we could think of that maybe we could make
Well,
something
I
look
was
like?
thinking of the body of this video of turning each little item presentation that Drew did into a TikTok.
Great. So we know I'm going to put this here, and so
Because I know even I, who am fascinated by all of this, am not going to sit for an hour to find the one thing I wanted to see. But if it was the snippets, I love them. I would go back and revisit them. I would share them. I think it's a great way to get people to share your content when you give it in little bite size nuggets rather than expecting people to sift through your entire video presentation to find something. You're sharing just because that's how people consume information now.
mm-hmm. So I see this one right here.
He's in the snow in upstate New York in the middle of the winter doing his whole presentation outside.
Great. I think the moccasin bit seems like a perfect.
I love it.
So what I'm going to do is I'm actually going to let's see. We're going to go down to and I can see along the bottom how much is highlighted. It's from 4:15 to 5:40, so it's like a minute and a half. I'm going to take that minute and a half. I'm going to try to get it down to under 60 seconds because that's the sort of that's the
Sweet spot.
sweet spot. And so I think I'll be able to do that. I just copied it. Actually, I'm going to highlight it first so that we can come back and we'll see it where it is.
Okay.
And then I copied it, and now I'm going to come up here and make another thing, and we're going to call it Moccasin TikTok. And I'm going to paste that. All right. And so, again, like I mentioned before, we can change the video by clicking this box up here, and we go to portrait mode. Boom. Um, and so the next bit would be to take, I'm going to do that remove filler word thing.
Mm-hmm.
We're going to apply to all. And then there's another thing called shortened word gaps.
Hmm.
And it didn't find any word gaps that were long enough to shorten. Okay.
He's a talker.
He's a
He's a
talker.
fast talker.
I heard a word gap right there. So this is where I would, if we're doing TikToks, this little tool down here, there are shortcut keys that do this, but it can turn into a blade. And when it turns into a blade, I can cut right there. And then these little
Oh,
bracket pieces allow me to shorten that gap.
nice.
And I can actually get rid of that to be honest. It's not necessary.
I'm with that. Yeah. Sign me up for that.
All right, so I think that this guy's a summer moccasin. That's a great scene change. Um, and then another scene change here. And so I don't know. I mean, you can painstakingly choose all your scene points really fast, but sometimes quick and dirty actually captures the energy of what's going on. And you can kind
Mm-hmm.
of go, okay, okay, so that's another one of this style. He talks in great bites. Do that. So what I'm going to do here, and I'm going to do this all before I do captions because that's just sort of like let's move all the video, then let's layer the text over the top, and then we can export it. So here, so
You're good. That took skill to hit that just right. I bet you've done this before.
Which was uh, just lining up, making sure it doesn't look too choppy, you know. So let's see. The way it's done is it's a zigzag. I just cut stuff fast, you know.
Mm-hmm.
Okay. And so it's not always, you know, it's not like watching somebody play a video game or something, but you can kind of see how quickly you can. Let's see, what was that? It's bigger, that's smaller. Let's go bigger again on this next one. I don't know. Does that side? It's like this is where you're like he goes off in a little.
Tangent.
Yeah, so from the 16th, 1800s, you see finer sewing. This is an earlier type of sewing. I almost feel like I can cut all that.
That's fine.
Right? Boom.
Especially since we're, consider what you're using it for.
Right. Nice. I think we got it under a minute. Oh no, it's 108. I still gotta cut some stuff. Let's listen real quick here. There's again. I'm gonna do this little cut here down at the bottom because those gaps. It,
Mm. It's great that it has that you can listen for it, but the visual is super helpful.
mm-hmm. All right. I'm gonna. All right. I'm just trying to get out. Oh, we're at 101. Okay.
There's your second right there.
If we're lucky. Oh, still close. All right. We got it under a minute.
Yay.
Great. So then, now that we've got it down to here, we're going to add our captions. And then what I'm going to do is bring it here. Great. So now that's quick and dirty. Could we have also made another background in this shape in Canva to put some color instead of a black? Yeah, sure.
Mm-hmm.
But I think also this is still fine enough as a thing to post. And so we would just publish. We go to export video. Boom, boom, boom.
And is the format for TikTok and Reels, how similar are those formats? Do
They're
you?
the same, but the algorithm does different things to the video.
Oh,
All right. Well, this is the that moment when you try and export something and it goes no. So I'm now going to
well,
hit
this is
export
good
again.
to, not, and we're not dissuaded from moving forward. We just have
Yeah.
to.
So it is it is a web program, and that means that when it has a glitch with the internet, and right now, I'm live streaming.
Mm-hmm.
Sometimes it'll go like, what am I doing? Um,
Mm-hmm.
that being said, I think the benefits outweigh the drawbacks with all that.
Absolutely.
Um, so there are communities you can join online. They have a Discord server. There are different things to kind of, if you want to get in and like learn a lot of, to become a power user,
Mm-hmm.
or like, oh, there's a specific thing I need to figure out how to do. They can do that. So the video export completed. That is great. I'm going to flip back to here so that we can wrap up. Um, So now that you've seen, 40 something minutes of what this program can do, what is that? What do you think you can do now that you wouldn't have been able to do before?
Oh my gosh, I had so many thoughts and ideas. I am duly impressed. I really am. The ease of use. So we have a lot of nonprofits take advantage of summer interns, and they're really comfortable with technology. So if you explain the basics of what you want done, I think you could set them loose, and they could create just like you said, a ton of content from longer videos and
Mm-hmm.
get creative with it. And they would, take the time to add the color background and do the things. And, I just think it would really make an impact on social media. And what is so impressive about it is it would help a small nonprofit look very polished and look like they have some real, you know, I don't know, wherewithal, things going on. Like, look
Mm-hmm.
at what they can do with this. They've got some, they know they're on the ball. They're on the
Mm-hmm.
ball. They not only is it just the content, but the professionalism of how it's presented and the nimbleness of being able to turn those little clips into little gems to just spot throughout social media. I just endless. And then talk about impressing your board of directors, and it's so inviting, and get the staff excited too
Mm-hmm.
about um because staff is also not going to be totally engaged with these hour-long videos, but the snippets, oh my gosh, like, yeah, it's
Well, yeah, what if you
endless.
gave it to everyone on your team and said, find your favorite 1 minute clip from this? And then you would be
Yes.
sourcing that from your team, from volunteers, even, because you can send. This is one thing I did not mention, and I'll just quickly share the screen again. We're going to go back up like this. Is let's say I want to share, and we're going to go back to the main one right here. So let's say I just want everyone on my board to be able to watch this video with the text accompanying it, right? So
Hmm.
they can't come in and edit, but they can see it, right? And so what you can say is, "Hey, board members, publish." All right? Anyone with the link can access. Great, publish. So once you publish this, it's now a private web page, and it's public to the internet. And you can take this and go copy link, share that link with people, and they will see. And I'm going to do it right now into am I going to send it? I'm going to put it into our private chat here inside of our
So you could
streaming
pop
thing.
this into a blog post,
I
like a
could pop
little
it.
video window in a blog post.
Yeah. And
It
so,
is really endless. Like the potential for this is
yep.
terrific.
And so, what I can do now is I can.
Oh, there it is in our chat. Yeah.
So, do you want to click that real quick
I
and
will. I wasn't sure if I was allowed to, but I
do
am.
it? And so,
This is phenomenal.
I'm just going to share my screen. I just popped it into my screen too. Um, so, what it looks like, it has to take a second because it's the first time it's opened up. But basically, it's putting the things in here. You can see the whole transcript along the side here. If I've highlighted anything, it shows as highlighted. Anything I've made are all visible. They could see highlights by color. If I had different color highlights, it could just
Oh, wow.
make those
Yeah.
visible. Um, and so they can kind of eventually they'll be able to hit play again. I think right now, just because I'm doing a lot of things on the internet at once, maybe it's taking a second.
Mm. And it's first open. Yeah.
It's the
Has to
first time it's
stitch,
opened. Yeah.
stitch and sew. And
Mm-hmm. It's like a little Etsy team back there, just
hmm
putting all the files together. And so this would be
well, I knew it was going to be cool, but it actually exceeded my expectations. And you do a really terrific job explaining it so that anybody can access the information, which is, like you said, that's the thing. There is always felt like there was a gatekeeping that only special people with special skills could do these special magical things. And this is so accessible to everybody. I love it.
yeah, it's great.
But I still think, there's, like you said, there's an opportunity to do your raw cut and then hire someone to really make it amazing, because what you do so effortlessly would probably take me several hours.
Well, I've gone through the slow hours already to get to the
Hmm.
being faster, certainly. But what I will say is, we're available for consulting and support and training. We're working on getting a blog started about Descript and about all these things, and a newsletter, because it's my favorite piece of new software. It's doesn't mean it doesn't have some challenges, like any piece of computer equipment. They're always updating it, which I really like, and the features they add really just mean that often I can cancel another subscription whenever they release new features, because there's something new that I
Who
don't have
doesn't
to
love
pay
that?
another thing for. It's great. So, and we also have an affiliate link. So if you want to support us, we will put that down in the chat or something, so that you can, if you want to find out about it, you go through our affiliate link, and we give you a little bit
Definitely.
of kudos for that. So,
You're hired.
all right. Sounds good. Well, thank you, Jeannie, for hanging out
Oh my
and
gosh,
doing our
thanks so
office
much.
hours. We're trying to do these every Wednesday. I think they're really informative. They're helpful for me to talk through things. I have to prepare a little bit myself, and then also just to kind of get hands-on feeling of what it's like to work with the stuff.
Well, I learned a ton and I'm very appreciative. Thanks for showing me this and taking the time. It's great.
Awesome. Thanks everyone for listening, and enjoy your day.